welcome to Geekology. I'm David.
I'm Sven.
And I'm Mark.
And today on Educating Dave, Bruticus! Yeah. Okay, we'll be back in 30 seconds. Okay, so we now have the little Bruticus, so I can remove the packaging because you went to quite some trouble to get that packaging, didn't you?
Yes.
So we'll just pop that to one side so it doesn't get damaged. Right, so Bruticus! Sven, this is the point where you drivel on and I pretend I'm listening, smiling and nodding.
Okay. Generation 1 Bruticus, which is the little guy.
This fella,
there,
yeah.
which is made up of 5 Decepticons, who are known as the group is known as the Combaticons.
Okay.
Because they're combat vehicles, except for the space shuttle, which is weird. And really doesn't scale well with the rest, but we won't go there. The characters are Onslaught, who's a missile gun truck thing.
Yep, that's the centre.
Brawl, who's a tank.
Yep.
Swindle,
Bottom left foot.
Yep. Swindle's a jeep.
Right foot.
Blastoff is the space shuttle.
Ah, right arm.
And Vortex is the helicopter.
Left arm. Okay.
Okay. Now, other than Devastator, Bruticus is quite possibly the character as a combiner that turns up more often than anything.
Okay.
Devastator being the Constructicons, being the first combiner in Generation 1, tends to turn up a little bit more. But Bruticus, for instance, did turn up in the Transformers video games from High Moon. So in Fall of Cybertron, he's actually playable. So even though when one of the designers over at Takara started working on the Ultra Magnus masterpiece,
Yeah.
at the time he said that the other thing he wanted to do other than Ultra Magnus was Bruticus. This has still not happened. There is no masterpiece Bruticus, and the only thing Hasbro and Takara have done in the meantime really has been the Combiner Wars Bruticus,
Right, because I have to
which
say
isn't awfully brilliant.
that this version of Bruticus, he's stunning, and he's very, very nice, and we have an independent expert.
Yes.
We don't have to listen
They
to
say
Sven.
expert, I'm no expert.
Okay,
I just like the toy.
Compared with me, you are.
Okay, we have an independent expert in third-party Transformers who is going to lead me into this one. So, third-party.
Yes, it's third party.
There isn't a first-party version this size.
There might be a fourth party if you get one yourself, because it's a brilliant toy. Absolutely brilliant toy. The company was called Warbotron that created it.
Right.
They no longer exist. They've changed their name and they're doing other things. Warbotron also did another combiner, Computron, which isn't as good.
Or technically not Computron. As this
I
is
know it
technically
as
not
Computron.
Bruticus.
Yes, I know. I know they're.
Not.
It's a grey area, isn't it?
Okay. 50.
Well, they certainly can't put Bruticus on the box on the basis of Hasbro would have even more reason to go after them if they thought it was worth their while.
Well, as it's got Decepticon logos on them, so there's no argument over fringe of copyright here. It's not fringed, it's danced right over the other side.
Those are repro labels. I put them on. They're not sold with the
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
So that's a
definitely don't
sneaky
do that.
little way
They're
around
not
it.
that daft. It's like the Optimus Prime like characters they do in the Autobot symbols, not on the shoulder.
Right, okay. So they let you put your own stickers on, which, well, to be fair, you use third-party stickers on some of your actual toys because, yeah. Okay, that's fair enough.
But it is a sin that some third parties do really push when they name certain characters, or they do leak out a toy with an Autobot or Decepticon symbol already on it.
Yeah.
Leak accidentally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's not an official shot. Don't know what you mean.
Now, obviously, Sven, I know very well where you stand on third-party Transformers, normally from a great height and dropping onto them. Why did you choose to go for third-party?
I think the obvious. Hasbro, Takara and Tomy, they don't make these. These are for fans, for people that want a good quality toy. I use that term a little loosely on some of the products.
Okay.
But if you look at some of the releases that Hasbro and Takara have released quite recently,
Combiner Wars,
you can quite understand why people turn to third parties. They're getting much better quality looking figures.
Yeah.
And
Well,
a lot of the time...
I'll say right off the get-go,
do you remember
the
that
quality on that, it is a stunning looking toy.
Do you remember the Optimus Prime we did with the combiner, with the arms and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Combiner Wars.
Yeah.
So it gives you an idea of what the quality of that.
Yeah,
was
I remember
like.
the quality of that particular toy.
And Blastoff isn't even a space shuttle. He's a jet. Still with the name Blastoff.
Okay.
Nice one.
Which, if you chose to, I could get that out. Yes, I've got the Combiner Wars version. I've also got the terrible rendition of the video game version, but with a third-party add-on kit that makes it look absolutely amazing.
Which third-party add-on kit have you got? Is it the one I've
One
got?
with Onslaught as the extra character.
Oh right, so you got the replacement Onslaught.
The replacement
Right.
Onslaught, and
That's where my border was. 'Cause
Yeah,
the
yeah.
add-on kit I've got for mine
Yeah.
enhances the 5 Hasbro, well, they're actually Takara version, the 5 Takara Combaticons that make up for the Cybertron Bruticus. Whereas the version you've got, the add-on kit you've got, replaces one of the toys.
as well as
Why
adds on
did it
to the
replace
rest.
one of the toys?
Because Onslaught is tiny.
Yeah.
The new Onslaught is much larger and a lot
So
stronger
the
to
smaller
hold.
toy.
Well, this is the thing, is that even on the original G1 toy, you had the 4 limbs were about £5 each.
Yeah.
And Onslaught as the main torso area was around about 10, 12 quid.
Okay.
So there were different size classes entirely. With the 4 Cybertron one, they were all deluxes. So immediately
All the same.
the aspect was completely off.
Okay. So in order to keep the aesthetics correct, they had to drop the central chest down.
Well, it was no. They didn't keep the aesthetic correct. That was the problem. It was a mess.
No, I'm saying the third party version.
Oh yeah, what the third party one did is that the add-on kit I've got kind of hides the cock-ups, whereas the one Mark Scott sorts the cock-ups.
Would you like to get it out?
Matron!
And then you can verify for yourselves. I mean, if this is going to be a third party video, indulge.
Oh, there it is.
So here we have, and welcome back, another Bruticus.
Yeah.
Very different looking Bruticus, to be fair.
That's
want to
because
talk-
Evolved over the
Do you want
years.
to
hasn't it?
talk me through this bit, because this looks like it's had some serious modifications done to it.
Right, if anybody has ever purchased the for the Cybertron version of Bruticus, whether it be the Hasbro or the Takara, they know full well it's not exactly the best toy in the world. Now,
Both
obviously-
had specific issues, didn't they? The Takara one, they were all deluxes, weren't they?
Yeah, both Hasbro and Takara, they were all deluxes.
Which meant that the sizing for them was really weird.
Yeah, it's because Onslaught really ought to be bigger.
See, this is why Educating Dave is bad. Because I'm remembering crap. I don't want to remember that. You know, you own a third party thing for yours, don't you?
Yes, I got an add-on kit that basically hides the problems essentially behind plating, to all intents and purposes, which basically sorts out the silhouette of it to all intents and purposes, and gives it proper feet, proper hands, but doesn't replace any of the robots. It's still the original 5 toys that Takara released in my case.
Okay, and this version?
This version replaces the main body,
Yeah.
Onslaught, for a much more bigger version, and a lot more extra parts.
Okay.
And instead of adding parts on like a shell or a new coat just to make him look tidy, it literally, you have to take the figures apart, the arms, to put the extra parts on, giving it more articulation. It doesn't suffer from gorilla arms like the original, and it gives it a much better aesthetic. I mean, the hands are replaced with more articulated hands.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it just makes it look much better.
Okay, so for you it's purely the aesthetic rather than the playability as such.
Yes, yes. I don't technically play with my toys. Well, I do.
I do.
I do. Especially with my children. We often have a Saturday where the toys come out.
But to be fair,
everybody has a
transforming your
go.
children can be a problem.
Yes, their articulation's a little bit awkward,
Not there.
yes.
They need to be bioengineered into suits so they can turn into heads and guns. So,
As long as it's not for RC.
No, let's not do that. And I have a Daniel. Anyway.
Yes, moving on, because, yeah, slightly scared. Slightly, just a smidge. Okay, so, hang on. Let me move this one to one side.
Yeah. We shall speak not.
Okay, so, right from the get-go, there's a massive quality difference between this one and this one. But this one is made up from parts of an original plus the third party.
And that's all
So
third party.
this is all third party, and this all third party one very much has gone for a very specific look and definitely achieved it. Something that the other Transformer toys, to be fair, don't have. The proper Hasbro ones don't look quite this coarse, and by coarse I'm not. No, I'm going to change.
Would you
one
say it's
to-
more detailed?
Yeah.
The aesthetic
Yeah.
is a more gritty rather than a toyish look.
Yeah, it's a far grittier, more realistic look for what the item is, rather than and by is I mean as a. How big would this have been? 100-foot robot?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You
100-foot
do realise
robot,
they
they're
do an
not toy.
oversized version. There's a KO out there, oversized.
An oversized version of this. What is that? A cabinet?
It's big.
It's
Very big.
how much is the oversized version?
About a quarter of the price.
Do I?
Well, this is the thing: is the third-party companies, they have to do all this engineering. They pay for the engineering to be done, and then they get them made in decent quality plastics. Okay, some of them, from what I understand, will not go through drop tests and survive, but then neither
No,
did Fortress
they won't.
Maximus.
Yeah, I was about to say there are actual Transformers that didn't do that.
and therefore didn't get reissued in the States. The problem is with third-party toys is that they're not toys.
Well, no,
They're
they're
collectibles.
they're collectible.
Yes.
So they don't have to be made to varying rules.
Which means that in some circumstances they have been almost dangerous in the way that they'll fall apart or splinter or whatever.
A perfect example of that, Sven, is the Seacons.
Right.
Transforming that will cut your hands. It's got spikes, very sharp parts, and it's the only true Scramble City combiner.
Oh right, so you can swap around all of the bits.
Absolutely, and they all turn into weapons, so yes, it's a target master as well.
Now you're wondering what Scramble City is, aren't you?
No, because if I wonder that, it's 10 more minutes.
How rude.
Can sum it up in a simple phrase.
Go for it.
All the parts come off and can interchange with everything else.
See, now that's just a damn good idea.
Now, that's
Playability
what
factor.
what the G1 combiners, other than Bruticus, other than Devastator, were pretty much all Scramble City, so they all could literally swap over. You could literally have Defensor, an Autobot, arm come off and join Bruticus instead of his arm.
See, now that I like the idea of. Apart from anything else, you can create a shed load more characters that way.
Well, there is that. You mix and match your
Yeah,
add-ons.
because
Isn't that what Hasbro's done recently?
Yeah, that's what they do with Combiner Wars. Is that they, even to the point where Defensor's UK and US release had a different character instead of Groove being a police motorcycle. They introduced a SWAT van instead, and then they introduced Groove as a mini version that was the chest plate. And then with the Stunticons, Menasor, again they replaced one of the characters and then released it separate. The character as a hard to get mail away toy or something.
If I may add, Groove was released Japan only to start with.
Yeah.
And fans went mad. They wanted that because obviously they wanted a rendition of, well, what it looked like in the toon, the cartoon,
Yeah.
or the comic, whichever is respectable to
Yeah.
their wants.
Now, though there was a groove in the UK and the US initially,
There's always been a groove in the UK.
Yeah.
it was a Legends class and therefore became the chest. Now in Japan, it was a deluxe size toy and was one of the limbs. So they then released the limb version in the West as well.
Okay.
Not in the UK, unfortunately, it was only in the States. But some importers brought them over. But they did something kind of similar with Menasor and Superion, where they introduced. With Superion, it used to be 5 jets, and suddenly it came out and one of them was a helicopter. So they released the final jet later on.
Yes.
So you could actually swap it out. It's almost as if as if one of them had been damaged and been replaced by a substitute for a while.
Do you realise, David, that he has missed an opportunity? In the UK, those were called special teams.
Well, yes, there is that.
And I thought you would have brought that up straight away.
Yes, the special teams.
Special teams, Sven. Do you
Yeah,
want to
but,
tell me about your special teams?
That was just basically the group name they used for what was called Scramble City in Japan, but didn't really have their own name in the States, did they?
I don't think so.
You've not mentioned Scramble City before. Is it not something that
We haven't reviewed any Scramble City toys.
Okay.
That'll be why.
Is that coming up? Is it?
It is now.
Okay.
I've just thought of a combiner that's not Scramble City other than Devastator.
We're talking the Japanese releases, like Leo Kaiser, etc.
Oh, there is that. No, I was thinking Western stuff, and I was thinking Predaking.
I know Predaking.
Yeah, we're going to have to do Predaking at some point.
Okay.
I'm warning now.
No.
The choices are over there.
Yeah.
There's Nero Rex
Predaking.
and Feral Rex, and then you have the
I'm
original
going
up
to do
there.
the G1 one. Especially being as they've just announced that Empower of the Primes is going to be a new one.
Yes, that has my interest.
I bet it
I'm
does.
not a big Hasbro fan, but that
Voyager
has my-
class
Yes.
Predacons combining
Okay.
into a Titan class Predaking. Oh, Rash.
G1
Yeah.
comics.
Yes.
They released all of the figures from it or not? In Hasbro.
Sorry, what do you
I'm
mean?
gonna rephrase that
I
question.
would.
All right. Here's a question for third party versus main. Let's go with the comics rather than the animated series. So in the comics, they showed various characters, and obviously you're a big fan of the Marvel ones. Did they actually release toys for all of the Marvel?
No.
Ah. Which ones and why not? Unless it's too many, at which point it's going to be a lot.
There's a few. I mean, the main ones are Impactor. Third party have jumped in on Impactor, haven't they?
Yes.
Impact
And so
an
has
important
Hasbro.
character.
Leader of the
They
Wreckers.
recoloured.
Okay, so why didn't that get released?
Because that was made up by the comic, it wasn't based on a toy. Because you've got to remember, all the characters are originally based on toys.
Yeah, see, I didn't think that they'd introduced that much, but the way you two were talking, it's like, okay, they obviously have introduced
Well,
characters, and then they've
There's
not
been
released.
convention exclusives of certain characters.
Yeah. Impactor, though there was no G1 version, what they did was, you see that Fall of Cybertron thing?
Yeah.
That Bruticus.
They turned that into the Wreckers.
Turn that into
and
the
just
Wreckers.
recoloured it. Because that obviously is a sort of Scramble City, arms
Yeah.
become legs. Just changed all the order of everything
Yeah.
and said there were different names.
So
Repainted
they
it.
renamed them.
Well, basically what they did is they took the Bruticus toy,
Yeah.
they repainted it to be an Autobot and called it Ruination, which in itself is a bit weird because Ruination was the name of a Decepticon, or rather a Destron.
What the hell's a Destron?
That's the Japanese name for a Decepticon.
Oh,
And
right.
the Autobots.
Okay, we're how many episodes in, and
Cybertron.
this is the first time you've ever mentioned that to
We've been
me?
easing you in.
Oh, God.
We do have a tendency to do more Autobots. So you can get
Yeah, we do. That's because you own a lot more.
So,
Autobots.
the Autobots are called Cybertrons in Japan.
Okay, now that I did know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what they did is they renamed it Ruination in the Autobot paint scheme. Now, Ruination was actually the name of a repaint of Bruticus that was released as part of the Transformers Robots in Disguise range from 2001.
Yeah.
And it was still a Decepticon, but it was actually a Combatron, which had the G2 Autobot logo upside down because the leader of that little faction was Scourge, who was
I knew about that.
repaint of G2 Laser Rod Optimus. Okay. So to make up that, the characters have been changed. So Onslaught is repainted into Impactor. Vortex was repainted into Whirl. That's the
arm there. Yeah, that makes sense.
Swindle the Jeep was repainted into Roadbuster. The Space Shuttle was repainted. Blastoff was repainted into Topspin. And the
horrible name for Space
Tank
Shuttle.
Brawl was repainted into Twin Twist. Now those Wrecker names, bearing in mind, were Impactor was the character that was created for the comic. Whirl and Roadbusters were deluxe Autobots, which basically meant that they were made by another company and then brought in because they were filling out the range because they'd run out of moulds. And Twin Twist and Topspin were the jump starters.
So we upset him even more. Did you know the original release of that was more brighter colours, and it was often referred to by fans as Fruticus? So that's more...
That's the dulled version.
Yes, the more game accurate version.
Okay, and Fruticus...
Which version actually is that? Is that of the original toys? Which release is that? Is that the Platinum one?
I believe so. The one that comes with Grimlock in the box.
Yeah, the Platinum.
The Grimlock that has a hollow chest.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Because the one I've got was the Japanese one, which is... The colours are very sort of similar to that, but they're metallic.
Yeah.
Metallic paint.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, but the paint rubs off if you're not careful. So yeah. But anyway, if we refocus on the third party.
Well, no, the reason I asked was other toys. I can't comment about Transformers, so I'm going to just go back on my other knowledge of the third party. Third party normally exists because they released a toy and they did a stupid number of it. There's only 150 of these worldwide.
Well, that's a KO rather than a third party.
What, where they completely copy the damn toy? Well, okay.
That's a knockoff.
Okay, that's a knockoff. Okay. So you get knockoffs. You get knockoffs in new colour variants, which I don't tend to think of as copies. I tend to think of those as third parties.
I guess you get copies or knockoffs or clones that are better quality than the original, that rectify all the issues the original had.
That has happened in a couple of other toy lines, not specifically Transformers. But there is always a demand. Now, one of the things that I don't really support for KOs is where they literally just copied it for the price. Because, the original toy company was charging something ridiculous and somebody else has released it for half the price. Although I do understand why people get those for their collections, because they're going, it's half the price and it looks the same. It's like, I personally may have bought a number of toys that were the originals, but out of the packaging. It saved me a lot of money and I didn't care about the box. Although from the same toy company, so yeah. But the other reason for a third party to exist is because they haven't done the characters. So that's what interests me.
Yeah.
So you've said that there was some in the comics. Were there any from the animated series?
We didn't even get to the end of the comics. There was.
Oh no! You don't need to. You indicated there was a few.
Yeah.
I do not want to sit through a
It's
list of
interesting
names.
that actually almost all of them have had a toy done since G1.
Okay.
Or G2 in some cases, where they've basically used the fact that they own the rights to the name to do a repaint of another toy and put that name on it.
Yeah, that's cheating.
The only one I think that definitely hasn't had a toy is Emirate Zaron, and I don't think it's ever been made as a toy by anybody.
No. There's many people commented they'd like to see one, but I don't think he's such a popular character that one would come up. Which is a shame, to be perfectly honest.
It's amazing how the Wreckers and Emirate Zaron basically got introduced at the same time, but the Wreckers were so much more popular. But then Emirate did actually get just completely destroyed by Unicron in the comics. So.
When we were looking through your awesome collection earlier, you did say that some of these are purely very pretty to look at. You can't transform them, although they do physically transform.
Yes, yeah,
they are made.
But
to do
you
that.
need to book a whole day or two off.
Okay.
Have YouTube app ready, and the instructions, which are more confusing than anything.
Okay.
But once you've had a play with the individual figures and you assemble them into combined mode, sometimes it's best just to leave them to look good in the cabinet.
Yeah. But again, that's more of they're a collector's item than a toy. So, and the aesthetic is very, very different between the toy version and the more collectible version. Although I did love the fact that one of yours in the cabinet is the most toy looking of the lot, and it's when I went, oh, that one's cool. So
Yes, Alan. And that to me is a very beautiful toy. Literally a toy. I get it out, I play.
It's safe to say we're never going to be able to convince you over to third party as such. But
No.
But you are obviously in both camps.
Yes.
But
What
not
would
as camp
you-
as you.
No one's as camp as me. So where would you say that the strength is for third party, without saying the quality of the plastics? Because you can see that the quality of the plastics is vastly different.
Without going into detail about the problems that can arise, etc., let's look at all the positives of it. Third party deliver the characters I want in the aesthetics that I like.
Yeah.
They're bigger,
Mhm.
they're better engineered, and ultimately they look at it.
Yeah.
It looks better.
Right, let me have a stab at the downsides and you tell me if I'm wrong.
Go on.
Breakability would have to be vastly different.
You don't want to be knocking it over.
Okay. Although the quality differences in some of them is very good, I'm guessing that some of it is very bad as well.
If it was a Hasbro toy, people would have a moan. If it's a third party toy, they go up in arms.
Okay.
Because obviously a third party toy costs a lot more.
Yeah.
And they do good quality, but when a problem arises, even a small one, mounting out of a molehill. Fans are very finicky like that, including myself.
I was about to say,
If you fork out £500 for a combiner, you want it perfect.
to combine perfectly. Yeah, okay. What are the downsides would you say there are to third parties? You can be as vague as you like.
This is going to be a very awkward one, but I'm sure there's many fans that will agree.
No.
You get into a sort of pigeonhole of third party is better, and some people think because they are better than the Hasbro collectibles that they start to look down on not just the Hasbro collectibles but those that collect Hasbro toys too.
No.
And then you get this split of camps. Yes.
Personally, I've always gone, if you're a fan, you're a fan. It doesn't matter if...
Personally, I think if you like a toy, get it.
Yeah.
I do have opinions on certain toys and go, oh, that's rubbish. But that's...
What would you say, just generally, not specific characters, what would you say the downside of the third-party toys is?
Finance.
Yeah, they're expensive.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
And when problems arise, it can be very daunting.
Yeah?
I suppose the other downsides are you get trapped because they are good and you don't want anything else inferior. You want the best and you get caught in that wave. So you want everything to be scaled the same and you want everything to look the
Starship
same.
scales. Yeah, these...
The same problems you get with your Star Trek ships arise in the fandom for third party toys. Everything has to scale, which is impossible to do with any toy.
Bruticus is a perfect example as that doesn't work because you've got a space shuttle,
There's
a
the same
combat
size
helicopter,
as a helicopter
and a tank and a jeep.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, me and you have had discussions where I banged my head into the table going, but it makes no sense, because it's one of the things that does annoy me about Transformers, is that the scalage is ridiculous. Now, you've always written it off as, well, they can crowbar plot point for the comic and thing. And
there's
you have to
simple way of doing this, Dave. Sorry to interrupt, but
Go
this is the rule. Keep this in mind. As long as the robots scale,
everything
about the
else
rest.
doesn't matter.
Yes.
Okay, right. So, me and you have discussed so many times. But would you like to, because I can't remember if we've got it on film or whether it hit the editing room floor or whether I just basically slammed the memory card across. Would you like to recap your feelings on third party?
I mean, I don't have any problem with people buying third party toys if that's what they want.
Yes, but what's
their money?
your...
But I see an unlicensed product.
Yeah.
I see where Hasbro's intellectual property it's basically been pirated because intellectual property does stretch to the likenesses of characters.
Yeah.
So, for instance, to have a likeness of Bruticus that is not made by Hasbro is technically not legal. I'm not going to say anything else than that.
You could say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't go down that path. I quite happily buy third-party add-on kits because I don't see a problem of having the Hasbro or Takara toys and then making them better.
Yeah, adding the gun, adding the sticker.
Because at the end of the day, you've got a set of... So for instance, if there was 5 even Masterpiece toys that combined, or Combiner Wars or whatever, you've got to bear in mind that their primary target will probably be children. Even with Masterpieces to a degree in Japan, it's probably kids. And even in even Generations for the West, the Transformers Generations range, though it's aimed at teens and up, it's they define that as 11 and up.
Yeah.
Including the adult collectors. I don't see a huge problem in you getting what should theoretically be a cheaper set of toys than to buy them third party and then add third party add-ons to it to make them more like the way you want them to be.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't see a huge problem with that at all. I have a problem with intellectual property being infringed.
Okay.
So that's why I don't get them, is because I see them as an issue in that on that basis. But people don't seem to. A lot of people who collect the third party toys obviously don't worry about that. So fair enough. If they don't want to worry about that, that's fine. I'm not going to try and convert them, or transform them in any way. But it's a case of in a lot of cases, it's simply because Hasbro or Takara haven't done something to fill the gap. So yeah, fair enough. One thing that has worried me though is there is actually one third party company that's made up of ex Takara and Hasbro people.
Yes.
And you've got to ask the question, does that classify as industrial espionage at that point?
That'd be a fair point.
Yeah.
If you look at it literally,
yeah,
you can often see some of the technologies and engineering in third-party toys start to mirror themselves in Hasbro's new products.
That does happen both ways.
Yeah.
So I suppose the reason Hasbro haven't attacked third parties is because they're using that
learning.
as a field
they're willing
test
to pay £1,000 for this one. Can we do a £200 version? Get the boys in R&D working on
do
that.
a 200 quid version and then charge £350 for it and £500 for a limited edition convention exclusive.
Yeah. I mean, a perfect example of that is the earlier Masterpiece Jets.
Yeah.
Takara's ones had some issues with the way they looked that people didn't like.
Yeah.
A third party company essentially copied them and changed some bits to make them a little bit better.
Yes.
Hasbro didn't go after them. Takara didn't go after them. IGEA were a bit miffed when they nicked the design changes they'd done and put them into the official line. But it's like, what are you going to do about it, guys? You can't really sue them. They will come down on you like a ton of bricks.
And they didn't sue you, so let's go with fair.
Yeah. And this is the thing, is that it's perfectly acceptable, I think, for... At the end of the day, Hasbro and Takara would spend so much money trying to shut this stuff down because majority of it's based in China anyway. So the trademark and copyright, I mean the IP laws.
Yeah, the IP there is very different.
So you forget that, it ain't going to happen. So rather than try and restrict the flow of the product, except when they've got a real issue, and I'll mention that in a second, rather than restrict the flow of the product, they're kind of turning a blind eye and then seeing and using it as a marketing technique.
Okay.
Literally turning a bad situation into something that advances them.
Yeah, it's good.
And so far it seems to be working quite comfortably.
I mean, it's like with the repro labels, you mentioned the third-party labels earlier. There are actually a couple of companies that have had licenses to do labels officially, one being Ocean, I think it was called.
Yes.
Yeah. But Hasbro have traditionally turned a blind eye to repro labels because some of the stuff they do actually turns characters into other characters. So that means that if there's a repro label set for a particular toy, a collector might buy 2 of them.
Yeah.
So Hasbro have gone, we'll save 2 toys instead of 1. I don't think we have a problem there. So that I can completely understand. And repro labels is actually part of Toy Hacks now.
Yeah.
I think they just reorganised and renamed it, and they actually do some reproduction parts and actually add-on parts for certain toys to again either bring them back up to standard or to make them another character. Which again, it's third-party add-ons. There's no problem there whatsoever. And if anybody at Hasbro has a problem with that, they're idiots because it enhances the experience of collecting the toys. When you've got things like this as well, if Hasbro was to do a masterpiece Bruticus, it would not look like that.
No, it wouldn't. I know that straight off.
Because
it looked like their Devastator, which is quite loose in
well, that's Combiner
taste.
Wars, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
but along that line, they have to cut costs because it's mass produced.
Yeah. Now, if they did do Bruticus or Devastator or whatever, it would look like it dropped out of the cartoon, and I'd be like, "Where's all the detail?"
Okay.
You know what I've been like.
I know.
Perfect example is Inferno and Artfire. Inferno was in the cartoon series. Artfire wasn't, and therefore has got all of the details pretty much from the original toy.
It's pretty much the masterpiece series in a nutshell. We had lots of good detailed toys that looked great in vehicle mode. The robot modes actually gave a sort of modern rendition to them, and then suddenly it became Toon City. Everything became plain, and I lost interest then. I want a modern toy to look like a modern toy. I mean, not a toy.
An interesting example of how Hasbro have approached that is Soundwave. The masterpiece Soundwave, because the Japanese release was toon coloured, i.e. specifically the optics, whereas the Hasbro version, the optics matched the original toy. So there is that whole thing, and third parties have made replacement optics available for MP10 Optimus, for instance.
Yeah,
so
because I know you've purchased a few
done
optics.
that, so I can comic it.
Yeah.
Or original toy it rather than it be like it was in the original.
Much like your MP10 Prime.
Yeah.
The eyes. Did you change the hands? Because obviously the index finger was often falling off. You could actually get
I
new
haven't touched the hands
it.
on those. All I did was I didn't want to mess with it too much. I just wanted to correct it. Because
but isn't that what third party for you does?
Yeah.
It often makes the toy better.
Yeah.
I was going to say polish a turd, which is known in the fandom. That's what they call it.
Which in Fall of Cybertron Bruticus's case is quite possibly the most appropriate term I've ever heard.
The same with the Combiner Wars toys. You can get the add-ons for better feet, better hands, and sometimes extra joints to help polish it up.
Exactly.
And then you stick some stickers on, you've got a very different toy.
Yeah. Okay.
It can make a huge difference. I mean, it's like I've got that Optimus. I mean, you saw the Optimus Maximus or Ultra whatever it was, where it was the red Combiner Wars Optimus with Sunstreaker, Prowl, Ironhide, and Mirage as the limbs.
Yeah.
There's actually another 4 Autobot cars they did from the original Arca crew, which is Trailbreaker, Wheeljack, Smokescreen and Hound.
Right.
And I'm going to put them, even though they're not supposed to go with it, I'm going to put them with the Battle Core Optimus, which is basically a slight remold and repaint of the same Optimus toy, but it's white with the crest from essentially Star Convoy on his head.
Okay.
But a white Prime usually should be an Ultra Magnus in my head, but we won't go there. Have you seen that 7-Eleven masterpiece?
Yeah. It's in pictures.
Oh, basically they're doing MP711. It's a white white convoy, which is basically from here upwards is painted like Magnus. Like the white Prime Magnus toy, but from there downwards there's green parts, but it comes with the trailer. Ooh. In white with a green roller.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds nice. I'm a sucker for green.
This is the thing, is I haven't got Masterpiece Ultra Magnus because it wasn't right to me without having the white Prime robot. Now there's a white Prime robot officially, so I want that. And they've even the head's got the blue faceplate and red eyes. So it's like, yeah, that's Magnus. I don't care what it says on the box. It's Ultra Magnus without his armour. So yeah.
To ask David this ultimate question. What are your feelings on third party now you've seen what they deliver?
Okay. Right. when it comes to third party, for myself, I own lots of third party bits and pieces. I mean, back in the day, they didn't do a lot of starships, so you bought resin kits, or you bought resin kit add-ons to the existing AMTs and so on. The weapons and technology for Star Trek and for myriad of other shows I watch have never been commercially available. So third party, you buy the fan made, you buy the resins, you buy whatever's done. I have no issue with any of that. As Sven said, when intellectual copyright is important, and I'm a big believer in that. But when people aren't doing anything with it, for instance, Galaxy Quest, it took them years and years to release a Vox and the ship and a weapon. I already have all of those before they released them because I bought fan-made ones because I never thought they were going to make an official one. But when they did, I bought the official one. Which is a lie because I only have the official ship. I don't have the Vox yet because I never got around to buying them, but it's on my list. And the same with other things. Sven will say when it comes to Trek, I collect that. So I've used third party for lots of pieces in my collection for various things because there hasn't been a main. When it comes to your collection and Transformers, yeah, I totally get why there is a third-party market. I'm, again, with Sven. At conventions, I have commented to many people, not just... The sticker sets are amazing. And I love the fact that not only are the sticker sets there to change an existing toy into a different character, but they're there to replace the existing stickers you've got because they weren't as good. Or they get damaged over time. Things do get damaged over time, and Hasbro are not going to suddenly release a whole load of stickers for you. So third party for stickers and for weapons. The amount of action figures, I'm not being funny, I am not going to spend another £80 because I lost the gun. Because I let somebody play with it and it disappeared. So third party from those perspectives, big fan of. When it comes to things like this, which is a lot of money, it would have to be something I'd care about which is obviously something you do care about. You care about the aesthetics. So, as I say, on the one hand, I have no problem with third party. I only object to things like copies, when they are complete copies, purely for the sake of having a cheaper toy. And even then, I have known to be flexible on that, because there have been 1 or 2 toys that retailed at £1,000 where the copy was £100, and I'm like, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer.
So sometimes the wallet's voice has to be heard.
The wallet voice only has to be heard, in my opinion, when the original company has taken the mick beyond the normal amount of. Come on,
much like Lego does.
At the end of the day, we are collectors.
Yes.
We want the proper things.
Yeah, we're consumers. If we can't
We
get
are
the best,
all-
we'll
yeah.
get placeholders.
As you said,
necessary.
Lego. I'm a big Lego fan. Have been for many years, and there have been 1 or 2 sets where you go, hang on. If I go to your store and individually buy these parts, it is cheaper by half. I think you're taking the mick. And
So would you pay, say, $6,000 for a Millennium Falcon?
Well, what do you think?
Or would you rather pay £120 for one that's exactly the same?
I'm not going to
Now
comment
that's
that
a
on
question that
it's
should be
a
left
valid point.
open, and it's
Yeah.
down to personal
Yeah,
choice.
it's down to personal choice. The only thing, as I said, there are legal things, and I do think when some companies are just blatantly taking the piss, then
Some do.
fair
Agreed.
enough. But you know, generally speaking,
It's
I
the
have no
fact
issue.
that third party stuff gets knocked off that I find hilarious.
Yeah, but, yeah.
You find it ironic.
And they start complaining. They're like,
Okay,
really out.
let me say, yeah, but there's 2 things for that, because we were at an event once and I picked something up and you went, it's a copy of a copy of a copy, and I was like, really? How can you say? And you led me through a whole thing, and I was like, damn, I could have looked halfway around this place if I had not asked that question. Well, you know what, I think that's enough. Thank you very much for letting us come round and see your marvellous collection, and we will have to come and do some more, and we'd love to see some more, and we'd really love to read some of your comments, so feel free to leave them in the comment section below. You can also subscribe to us here on YouTube, and of course you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. So, well, considering they've definitely got Autobot logos on them.
That would be impressive. It's a Decepticon.
Oh, for fuck's sake. 3, 2. Please don't get it out on camera. We have enough age issues.
I've got this thing for big
Hang on 2
Bruticus.
seconds. We've got to give him an edit point there for the bloopers. Right, sorry. Get it out.
Yes.
Let's play a really dangerous game, shall we? Let's see if David knows how to take off. Let's go for the... Actually, this is a gun. Right, okay, let's go for...
Is some kind of latch on that?
No, but when they go in, they stay in. When
Right, let's not play a dangerous game. We'll edit that bit out. I was going to see if you could transform the arm.
Me?
Yeah, on the third party now. Okay, alright. We'll edit that bit out.
Because it's
Actually, I
very
quite
complicated.
I don't know what this one is, but I quite like
Springer.
the style he's done in each marvel.
Third party
very
Springer.
child-esque, very toy-esque,
Yeah.
but in a great way.
It's called Alan, and
Hello, Alan.
he's lovely. It's huge. He's a huge helicopter mode.
Isn't that his name in the fucking Stardub? Fucking hell, they started naming them after the Stardub.
You have no idea some of the names, mate. Believe
Has
me.
Grimlock been called Rodney at any point?
No, but
And I have
there's
to say, the
Soundwave's been called.
insectoid one there,
There's a
that's
Simon.
great.
Kick back.
Well, the insects.
Yeah,
cons.
they're great.
They are
Kick back,
good,
shell shrapnel.
Yeah, they're great fun.
and they're heavy. A lot of die cast, a lot of articulation. Really
They look
nice
it from the
toys.
pose, you can tell that they're...
They are really good toys. You can have a good play with those. Transforming them can be a little like iffy at times, but they're the sort you can get out the cabinet and have a play with.
Cool.
Some of them you put in the cabinet
put in the
and
cabinet
they
and
stay
they
there.
dust.
They have to.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1.